This podcast is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for care by a doctor or other qualified medical professional. This podcast is provided with the understanding that it does not constitute medical or other professional advice or services. If you're looking for help, seek out a qualified medical services provider or other healthcare professional. Welcome to the Live Your Yoga podcast, a podcast dedicated to discovering and sharing all the ways in which yoga can be lived off the mat. Real stories by real people, just like you.
Welcome to the Live Your Yoga podcast. In these special episodes, you'll be guided through an audio yoga class led by one of our experienced faculty members, offering a variety of styles, themes, and approaches to support your practice and your teaching. These classes are designed to be enjoyed anywhere, anytime, whether you're at home, traveling, or carving out a quiet moment for yourself. You're invited to move, breathe, rest, or simply listen in a way that feels supportive for you. Before we begin, a gentle reminder. Yoga is a personal practice. Please listen to your body, honor your own limits, and move at a pace that feels safe and sustainable for you. You are always welcome to rest, modify, or skip any posture or instruction. If you're working with an injury, health condition, or are unsure about a movement, we recommend practicing with care and consulting a qualified healthcare professional as needed. This recording is intended as general guidance and does not replace individualized instruction or medical advice. Take a moment now to settle in, arrive exactly as you are, and allow this practice to meet you where you are today. Let's begin.
Let's come to our backs on the floor for this first practice. With knees bent and feet about hip-width apart, you could turn the toes slightly inward, let the knees rest on one another. And hands can be down at the sides with palms facing up, or we can bring hands to the belly, to the chest. Wherever you place your hands, check that you're still able to relax your shoulders. You might tuck the shoulder blades under the back. Notice your breath exactly as it is. Perhaps a big sigh wants to come out, let it out. If you're not quite comfortable, feel free to wiggle around. You might move feet further away from the torso or further away from one another. Relax fingers. Allow the muscles of the face to begin to soften. Shoulders heavy, pelvis heavy. If the chin is tilted up toward the sky, just give it a little gentle tuck. You want the throat to feel open and the neck long. The tongue can rest in the mouth, just wherever it rests naturally. If it's stuck against the upper palate, relax it away from the upper palate. Becoming aware of your breath as it is, passive awareness. Belly breathing. Very gently allow the breath to begin to flow all the way down to the belly. You might even imagine that you are inhaling through your navel through the belly button. Feel the rise and fall of the belly. Notice any straining or striving. If they're present, relax back into passive awareness of the breath rather than making any effort. Imagine your torso like an empty bottle. Let the breath fill your torso like a bottle is filled with water from bottom to top. Emptying from top gradually to bottom. Feel the breath fill the belly, the chest, the upper lungs. Feel it empty from the upper lungs, the chest, and the belly last. What does it feel like to empty more breath out? On this next exhalation, empty, 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 until there's no breath left to empty. Notice how that full, complete exhalation affects the following inhalation. Try it again. As you continue breathing here, let's bring in a few phrases to support the aims of our practice today. After I say each phrase, hear the phrase speak itself silently in your own mind 3 times slowly. I feel ease. Hear it in your mind 3 times slowly. I am graceful. Hear it in your mind 3 times, slowly. I have much to learn. I have much to learn. Hear it 3 times. Begin to move toes and fingers. If you feel like a stretch out, maybe a long stretch out or any other movement that feels good as we make this transition. Let the eyes blink open if they're still closed. Rolling over to one side. Right side would be the side you'd roll to if you wanted the cooling effect. Using the hands on the earth to press yourself up to seated. And we'll come all the way to tabletop. Spreading out the fingers, tucking the toes or pressing the tops of the feet down onto the earth, cat-cow. Notice the breath exactly as it is. And on the out breath, tucking the tail, rounding the back sequentially, tucking the chin, stretching the back of the neck. As the in-breath begins, tail begins, curling up toward the sky. Opposite direction for the spine, opening the chest. You can do this with the eyes open or closed. Continuing, letting the breath be the cue to change direction. Four more times, noticing any sensation. Coming back to neutral. Softening the elbows. Tucking the toes if they're not tucked. I like to bring my knees together for this. We're about to sit back on our heels. Sitting back on the heels, rotating hands on the wrists. You can also come up high on the knees. Rotate in both directions a few times. Notice if there's an effortful quality to this rotation and just relax it. Graceful. I am graceful. I feel ease. Give them a shake out. Flicking water off the fingers. Back to our tabletop. Spreading out the fingers, grip the mat lightly with the pads of the fingers. Toes were tucked. Let's tap the tops of the feet down to the mat. Wake up feet. Lifting the feet up, rotate feet on ankles. Notice any crickety cracks. Toes back down, tucking them, preparing for downward dog. So a little bend in the elbows, gripping with the pads of the fingers. On an exhalation, draw the belly in, navel to spine, little squeeze in the pelvic floor, Mula Bandh, Uddiyana Bandh. Keeping the elbows bent slightly as we press the earth away, feeling the hips begin to rise up and back. Notice what feels best to you today, remaining still with little micro movements, little bend in the knees and the elbows, or pressing heels down, a few breaths, feeling the stretch. One heel and then the other, pressing them down alternately. Or anything else that feels good. Could be a sway of the hips from side to side. Hips up and back, soft elbows, soft knees. Base of the skull aligns with back of the heart. And we'll get ready to step forward. You might bring toes together. Shifting the weight to the right foot, we'll take the left foot forward in between the hands, using as many steps as we need to. Notice my left hand changes its shape to accommodate this. Bringing the back knee down, and you might shuffle your back knee further back to end up with your left knee over your left ankle, and a little bit of a stretch, maybe in that back hip. You could stay here for the next part of our posture, or you could bring the back knee quite a bit forward and feeling a little bit more of a lift upward. And that's where we're going to go. So inhaling to come up, bringing the hands together, inhaling to lengthen. Exhale, twist, right elbow to left knee. So we can stay right here, or again, we can shift the knee back a little bit, the back knee, feeling that stretch in the front of the right thigh, the right side hip flexor. Another option would be to lift the knee, find your breath, find your core support. Now, only lifting the back knee if you can remain with that feeling of ease. I feel ease. I feel more ease with my knee down. On the exhalation, feel the twist deepen from the belly. If it feels good, allow the head to turn. And I just noticed my hands were doing a funny thing. I was extending more with my left wrist, so notice that in yourself, if you feel even in the wrists. And then let's find a little bit more length through the neck and out the top of the head. A couple more breaths here. Find a drishti, a gaze point. Long, complete exhalation. I feel ease. Last breath here. As you inhale, unwind, bring hands to the earth. And in whatever way works for you, stepping back to downward dog or tabletop pose. Again, in your downward dog, you might find stillness, micro movements, or larger movements. Soften elbows. If you're in tabletop, you could do cat-cow. Two more breaths here. I feel ease. I am graceful. Coming into stillness, you might step toes together. Shifting the weight to the left foot, stepping right through with the right foot. You know where we're going this time, so find the distance between the front foot and the back knee that works for you in order to press down into the earth and breathe up. Palms together. Inhale to lengthen through the spine, rooting the right foot heel down into the earth. On the exhalation, twist from the belly first, then rib cage, shoulders, plant your left elbow. Option to take that back knee up. I'm going to keep it down. Tune into the breath. Pressing the pads of the fingers into one another to create a little space between the palms of your hands, as though there were a rose petal between your palms that you don't want to crush. On the exhalation, empty, empty, empty the breath. Feel the twist deepen from the belly. Twisting from belly through rib cage, shoulders, and finally head, if it feels comfortable for the neck. If you feel shaky or unstable, where could you engage more fully to support this shape while still feeling a sense of ease? Perhaps pressing down through the right foot heel, gripping with the right foot toes a little bit to the mat. And as you exhale, drawing the navel in, squeezing the pelvic floor muscles gently, Uddiyana Bandha and Mula Bandha. One more breath here. As you inhale, unwind, bringing the hands to the earth, stepping back to downward dog or tabletop. All those same options we had before, we have now. 6 breaths here. Check that elbows are slightly bent, knees as well. Shoulder blades sliding toward the waist. Base of the skull floating in line with the back of the heart as an extension of the spine. Tapping knees down to the earth and taking what's sometimes called puppy dog pose, or in yin yoga, melting heart pose. So I've taken my knees down and now I'm going to move them back a little bit so that there's room for me to reach forward on my mat, bringing the elbows to the mat. Taking my knees a bit wider, hip width, forehead on the mat. Some people like chin on the mat. Whatever feels best for your neck. Feel the stretch through the armpits, the shoulders, the chest, and the solar plexus. Today I'm enjoying switching between forehead and chin. Notice where you feel the strongest sensation. There should be no pressure or discomfort in your neck. Toes can be tucked or untucked. 2 more breaths here. As you exhale, pressing the elbows into the earth, lifting them up. walking the hands back. And we'll come to seated for a seated twist. You may wish to sit on a block or a folded blanket for this classic twist. A couple of options for your legs. The classic twist has our left knee bent with our right foot coming over our left knee. But we could also have this leg straight. And then dorsiflexing the foot, toes face the sky. Hugging that right knee close to your body. Find your breath. Growing taller, make sure that both sits bones are touching the earth or your block or your blanket. So again, with both sits bones touching the earth in your variation, inhale and lengthen. And then taking the left arm around the right knee or right to the other side of it. Taking the right hand behind you. And as you exhale, feel the twist from the belly. I feel ease. I've got my fingers tented because I think my arms are a little bit on the short side, and that feels good for me. But some people might use a flatter palm, just gripping the floor a little bit so that the center of the palm stays up and there's no strain in the wrist. Some people take their hand further behind them with the palm down and they lean back slightly. Try that. If it feels better for you, then use it. Let's take a few more breaths here. Using inhalations to lengthen gently with ease. And exhalations to feel the twist right from the hips through the belly, through the ribcage, shoulders, and head. You could take Gyan Mudra with your left hand. Two more breaths here, right from the roots of the sits bones, all the way up and out the crown of the head. Complete exhalation. Empty, empty, empty. On an in-breath, unwind. Pause, exhale. I am graceful. We'll do the same posture on the other side. It's likely that you'll do the same variation on the other side, but perhaps you have a knee injury on one side. If so, and the bottom leg feels best straight, please use that variation. Similarly, if the hips are a little bit different left to right, you might pop up onto or off of your block for the second side. This side feels different to me. How about you? On the in-breath, find length. The arm comes either right around, like the crook of the elbow with the knee in it, or right to the thigh. Position of that back hand, I do the tented fingers and a bent elbow with my hand quite close behind me. What works best for you? As you exhale, sink the sits bones and drop the shoulder blades. If the chin is tilting upward, notice how it feels to slightly tilt it down and bring the base of the skull over the back of the heart. Tune into the breath. Empty, 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 empty all the breath and feel the twist belly, rib, shoulders, head. 3 more breaths here, noticing what you feel. I feel ease. Empty, empty, empty all the breath. Little gentle squeeze of Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha. On the in-breath, unwind. As you exhale, notice how you feel. Unwind those legs, maybe give them a shake out. Flex and point the toes, windshield wipers, whatever feels good. Sphinx pose. So we'll come to the belly. Find a way to do that that feels good and safe for you. I'm going to come down to my elbow and then roll down to both elbows. If this feels uncomfortable for your lower back, then come down a little bit further. You can take the elbows forward. You can even cross them over and rest the head, if that's what feels best. I'm going to bring my elbows back under my shoulders. That feels good for me. And we're pointing the toes and gently pressing the tops of the feet down into the earth. Gently pressing the elbows down into the earth, gradually coming into stillness. Find a drishti, a gaze point, maybe the top edge of your mat or something on the floor. Notice your breath. Check in with your lower back, making sure that this feels good. Again, if there's any discomfort in the lower back, please lower down by shifting the elbows forward or crossing the hands over to opposite elbows and resting your head. What does it feel like to relax the glutes? How would we do that? Just as best you can. So you almost think of what it would feel like to let your heels drop out to the sides, but you don't let them drop. And probably your glutes, your buttock muscles will relax. Now press the tops of the feet down and notice how that feels, just a little bit. So notice which feels better for you, staying here several more breaths. If there's a sigh, let it out. I have much to learn. I just noticed my neck was feeling a little bit uncomfortable, so I've slightly tucked the chin. And I'm going to close the eyes and find a drishti on the backs of the eyelids. These are great options. Tuning into your breath. Noticing it as it is. For our last few breaths here, if it feels good for you, you could come into what we call seal pose in yin yoga, pressing the hands into the earth and lifting the elbows. Our aim is less about compressing the lower back here, and it's more to stretch the solar plexus area. So think about pressing the area just below your front rib cage area forward. Pressing the lower ribs and the area just below it forward. There might be a lot of contraction and support coming from your glutes here, as well as squeezing the pelvic floor muscles, Mula Bandha, and drawing the navel toward the spine, Uddiyana Bandha. I'm tilting my chin slightly to take some of the extension out of my neck. That feels better for me. Find a drishti, 3 more breaths, whichever variation you're in. Relax shoulder blades toward the waist. I feel ease. On your exhalation, lowering down if you're in seal. Once you're in Sphinx, tuck the toes. Bring the hands back to either side of the lower rib cage. Tuck the chin. Inhale. Exhale to engage core, bandhas. Press into the earth, coming up, hands and knees. And we'll come into hare pose briefly. So we're sitting back on the feet like we would for child's pose, but the knees are close together. We reach back for the hands, bringing the head to the floor and very close to the knees. Holding the heels with the hands, we engage the core to lift the hips off the heels. Actively rounding the back. Notice the sensations. Very little weight in the head as we're using core to support. One more big breath here into the back of the body. Exhale, release the hips back to the heels. Use the hands for help and slowly roll up. If sitting on the heels doesn't feel good, come up high on the knees. Arriving, notice your breath, and if there's a sigh, let it out. Coming to seated, and we'll get ready to roll down. So coming to the top of your mat, so there's space for you to roll right down and be on your mat. Hands on the shins, round the back, tuck the chin, getting that hammock-shaped back. Notice your breath. On an exhalation, engage the core, pelvic floor muscles, belly. Slowly roll down vertebra by vertebra if you can. Keep the knees bent as the head comes to the floor. Slide those shoulder blades under. We're going to do a brief and gentle fish pose. With the knees bent and the feet flat, roll slightly to your right to tuck your left arm under your body. And your left forearm is going to be under your hips, your glutes. Roll to the left to get the right arm under. My hands tend to overlap a little bit sometimes in fish. And I like to roll my elbows right in nice and close. Whatever works for your shoulders, do try to get your arms as close together as you can. You'll notice as your shoulders start to come together that there's a stretching sensation in your chest. We'll stretch the legs out now. Straight legs. Feet close together. Pointing the toes is how I like to do this, but some people like to flex, dorsiflex the ankles, toes coming toward the body. I'm pointing the toes, inhaling and exhaling. Little engagement in Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha. And when you're ready, press the elbows into the earth and then bend the elbows and bring the head back down to the mat. So there's a nice feeling of openness through the chest, drawing the navel in, really expanding up through the lower ribs and the area just below that, expanding through the solar plexus. Breathing into the solar plexus space. If this posture is new to you and it's tiring, come out as soon as you're ready. We'll take 3 more breaths if you're still here and comfortable. The legs are active. The toes are pointing. The sits bones are pressing down into the hands. We're breathing into the solar plexus and chest area, elbows pressed down into the earth. 1 more breath here. On an exhalation, begin to tuck the chin. Lower down to your back, bend the knees and place the feet flat on the floor to release your arms from underneath you. Let's give them a little shake out, flicking water off the fingers, shaking them out. Nice deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth with a sigh. Draw the knees in, give them a little hug, rocking side to side. And preparing for Shavasana. If you have a blanket, a bolster you'd like to put under the knees, anything that makes you more comfortable so that you can really relax, feel ease in your Shavasana, please bring those props and prepare your space. When you're ready, close the eyes and begin to gently fall into the back of your body. And we'll repeat our intentions for this practice as we shift into Shavasana. I feel ease. I am graceful. I have much to learn. I have much to learn. Enjoy at least a 5-minute Shavasana. Noticing your breath as it is. If you have longer for Shavasana, you might just stay here. If you're coming out of Shavasana now, wiggling fingers, wiggling toes, a long stretch out, a hug of the knees, whatever feels good for you as a transition. Bending the knees and turning over onto the right side. Bottom arm under your head as a pillow. Pressing into the earth. Coming up to seated. Notice how your body and mind feel. What is the quality of the breath? Taking the left hand over the heart and the right hand over the left. A little tilt of your chin downward, feeling the breath. Bringing hands together, palm to palm. May we continue to take time to nourish ourselves first, so that nourishment of others flows from us more effortlessly and joyfully. Namaste.